A few things, I've shot this before and my lens will fog up, so I'm going to try and keep the fog to a minimum because I have to take off the lens, wipe it, and then put it back on. Secondly, we hit 30k. In fact, we hit 31k the other day. And if you guys didn't know, every 5k or so, I will do a Q&A. I really enjoy them. I get to ask you questions. You get to... Yeah, it's been a long day. Anyway, I have a cup of coffee, which is almost finished at this point since I've already recorded this once. And I'm going to look through your questions, answer them as many as I can in as good a detail as I can without dragging out the video over too long. This is going to be a really fun video to record. So let's start going through your questions. Who is the most unbiased and most informative tech YouTuber in my opinion, and why am I called Failtech? I'm called Failtech because my friend Morgan had the alias, in-game alias, as Fail, and so we decided to go from there. Initially, Kelsey and him were going to help out with the YouTube channel. Morgan has posted one video, I believe, or maybe 2 videos, and Kelsey has posted a couple here and there as well, and essentially I just ended up taking the channel. And the most unbiased and most informative tech YouTuber in my opinion is Tech Alta, or Alta, whichever way you want to pronounce that. Really like him. He's a big inspiration to me personally. I love his content, I love his research, I love his methodologies. His voice is very calming. I believe he's from Hungary. Really cool YouTuber. Definitely recommend you check him out. If you could fight one tech YouTuber who you genuinely hate in the boxing ring, who would it be? I have 2 answers. One who I like really don't like is a YouTuber and I would have to box because I hate them. Or 2, a YouTuber that I think would be a really good boxing matchup for me. The person who I really hate, Red Skull Pro. Red Skull Pro? Not sure how you say that. He knows that I don't like him, we don't like each other. Essentially, he doesn't agree with some of the things I said, and I don't agree with some of the things he thinks necessarily about mental health. It's a big part of my past, so I'm quite passionate about it. And he is quite passionate about it, apparently, because he blocks me on Twitter, so that was fun. However, the person who I think would be a great matchup for me in the boxing ring would be Alex. I can't remember his last name, Alex Marsbar. He runs a tech channel called Tech Focus, so I guess, or is it Tech Flow? Crap, sorry Alex Langley. I'm not fighting Langley, he's like a foot taller than me. But yeah, Tech Flow I think would be a good matchup for me. We're like the same kind of stature, roughly the same height. I'm a little bit shorter than him. I think that would be a good matchup. Why don't I review Sony phones? Main reason is I currently don't have a lot of money, and so when I go to buy a phone I try and make it as interesting to me as possible, because at the end of the day I do make these videos because I enjoy doing it, and Sony phones are fairly boring to me. However, the few phones that I do want to check out, the Sony XZ2 Compact and the Sony Z5 Compact. Really like Sony's compact kind of line of smartphones. They're really interesting to me as someone who likes compact smartphones, but at the end of the day Sony's tend to just be Sony's and they're all pretty much the same. My favourite upcoming smartphone? Well, the one I'm kind of looking forward to most to see like the unveiling of is probably the OnePlus 7 or whatever they call the next OnePlus. However, the one that I'm pretty sure I can guarantee that I will like is the Galaxy Note 10 or S10 Plus. Probably won't be getting either though because I haven't got any money. What's the best older phone from each year as a daily driver, whether using custom ROM or not? I don't actually know if I'm going to make it. I think I might do a video based on this in terms of like an actually in-depth one, because there are so many variables to consider. Do you like iOS? Do you like small phones? Like there are so many different options. However, the 2 answers I'll give you, the Galaxy S4 and the Galaxy S7 Edge. I know those are both Samsung, so you might not really like the answers that I'm giving you, but I think they're probably the best phones in terms of an all-rounder and at different price points. Which phone will I be buying after the Poco phone? As you can probably tell, I've got a different phone in this video. This is an Umidigi phone. It's the Umidigi Z2. Now I didn't buy this, my good friend Damien Wilde actually gave this to me. Now I believe he's lent it to me, gave it to me, I'm not really sure how that works, but he's basically let me use it as a daily driver because at the moment money is tight and I've had to kind of sell certain smartphones, and so this was a really kind donation of him. However, it's also for a review, so I'm going to be reviewing it. Also, my good friend Dave West is sending over his OnePlus 3T to check out, which I think is really interesting. And unfortunately I don't have a lot of money to spend on smartphones, but some of my friends have some smartphones that they would let me film. On average, how much time do you spend on each video? Why don't you reply to comments, and did someone punch your nose? The nose comment is like genetic. I know my nose is weird. It's like big, I guess, but it's just a weird looking nose. just genetics. It's just how I was born. Why don't I reply to comments? That is just, usually I have a lot to do, like a serious amount to do. I'm usually very busy. The times that I'm not busy, I like to just chill. I don't want to have to go back and look through YouTube comments. I do actually read a fair few comments. However, I've got a lot of time to be spending on actually trying to organize my life. If you haven't noticed by now, and this isn't like a condescending comment, if any of you haven't noticed by now, my room changes an awful lot, and there are a lot of different angles. It's seemingly like every single video, my room is moved around a different way. And that takes up a lot of my time. As someone who spends a lot of their time in their bedroom, like doing pretty much work and also university stuff, it can get very boring and almost can drive you mental. So moving stuff around is something that's actually quite recommended that you do if you have to spend a lot of time in a single room, and a lot of dorm people actually do this if they're at university and they're allowed to move stuff around, and that takes up a lot of my time. So that's usually why I'm not reading comments, or at least replying to comments. I'm usually reading them, scrolling through, but I'm usually doing other things and haven't really got much time. I do hope that I can change that this year though. And on average, how much do I spend on each video? It all depends on the type of video, whether it's research based, it's a review, anything like that. The A-roll can take probably the least amount of time because I've been doing this for so long now that I'm kind of used to chatting to the camera. The recording of the B-roll, which is the glamour footage, the stuff of the product, the bit that I actually dislike the most, that can take anywhere between 6 hours and maybe 8 hours depending on kind of the situation. Do I have to move tables around? Do I have to change all the lighting, or am I just out and about with natural daylight and stuff like that? So I would say anywhere between 6 to 8 hours. However, some of my recent projects have only taken 4 hours to do, just because I'm trying to slim down basically how I kind of set up, and hopefully things are more accessible, because it actually takes a lot longer to set up the shot with the different light stands and the different tripod sliders and all that than it does to actually get the shot. Which phone is the best in the budget section and why? Mi A2 Lite, I know I've been singing its praises ever since it came out, but Mi A2 Lite, for its really killer feature list and spec list, it's got so many different options, you know, dual SIM plus micro SD, high RAM and high storage configurations, a headphone port, Type-C, Full HD plus display, a notch if you're really into that, and if you're not, it's actually not that big of a notch, a really nice design, some clicky buttons. I mean, the whole thing's good camera, and if you install the Google HDR Plus APK, gets even better. So some fantastic options there, all packed into a phone that costs around £125 brand new. That's a solid option from me. Comments on LG G7, and have I ever been bitten by an animal? LG G7 is a really interesting phone. I really do want to check that out this year, by the way, because I do like LG phones. I know a lot of people kind of gloss over them, but I really like LG, so I want to check that one out. And probably the best thing about it is its wide angle lens. Bitten by an animal? I've been bitten by tons of like flies, and I've been bitten by a bee a couple of times, like not one bee, it was 2 separate bees, but like, yeah. And my cat constantly bites me, but I don't think I've been bitten by a substantial animal, if that makes sense. We don't really have snakes here. What, in my opinion, is the best smartphone to buy new around £220? Probably the Poco phone. I mean, it's a good phone. Like, I know a lot of people hated on the fact that I hated on it. I don't really hate on it. I just think that there are better options in the used segment. If you're buying brand new, probably Poco phone. Probably a Mi 8 Lite if you can find it cheap, or a Huawei P20 Lite is quite good. Favorite phone I've ever covered? Or you know what? Probably the P20, the Huawei P20. Honestly, I probably didn't do that phone justice in the review. I really liked that smartphone. I did do some interesting new types of B-roll though. So yeah, Huawei P20, maybe mixed with the Galaxy S7 Edge, which was kind of more of a personal phone, and the Nexus 6. Educational achievements like A or O level. Well, I've done my, I did my GCSEs years and years ago, and then I did my college, which is like, I guess, high school in the US. That's basically a BTEC. I did a level 3 BTEC in IT systems. I got like 100%, and I'm currently studying for a bachelor's degree in computing. My opinion on Motorola phones, really interesting phones. They have the wide angle camera, which is really cool. It's just something I really like. I love the wide angle camera, and they have been switching towards IPS over OLED to save cost, but they are very good IPS displays, especially the Moto X4, which I checked out. which is my friend Ross's. That has a really, really stunning IPS display. It's almost to the point where you can kind of forget that it's IPS, and it can sometimes feel like OLED. It's only when you go into a dark room and you crank the brightness up on the screen that you feel, yes, all the pixels are lit, it must be an IPS. What inspired me to start a tech channel? Well, this channel used to be a graphics channel a long, long time ago, and the reason it's a tech channel is because I've been into technology ever since I could touch a keyboard, so I suppose I just decided to take it to the next level. What do I do? Employment, hobbies, sports. This is quite a broad question. In terms of employment, currently the only real money I make is from YouTube and also like repairing laptops, phones, computers. Although recently that has been kind of on the low. Like I haven't been doing a lot of laptop repairs because people tend to just buy like tablets these days. But yeah, and also my good friend Stan, I'll leave his Instagram on the screen, does like all the smartphone repairs. So if I ever need something repaired, I just get him to do it and like pay him because he's actually like, I don't know if he's qualified, but he definitely knows what he's doing. So yeah, currently employment is not really there. Hobbies, well, you guys know I make YouTube videos, and even though I get paid from it, it is actually my hobby. And probably second to that is like tinkering with cars. Third to that, maybe the gym. I love the gym. I try to go to the gym as often as I can. There's some like weird part of me that like needs the gym, otherwise it can't function. And I also am well, over the past maybe 3 or 4 weeks, I've been getting into sim racing, and that's kind of a big thing coming up in my life. Sports, when I was younger I played a lot of football, so I do like football freestyle. Running, I used to run all the time, like because I live in Cornwall, so there's a lot of coastal paths, scenic routes and stuff, so used to run a lot. And yeah, the gym, which I would currently be doing like a bodybuilding style, powerlifting style thing. So I'd do squats, deadlift and bench, but then I'd also incorporate some other movements. I wouldn't do CrossFit just because I'm not a huge fan of it. I want to move as much weight as possible, not move the weight as much as possible. Andrew, would you rather give up YouTube or CSGO? I'd have to give up CSGO. I'm way too into sim racing at the moment to really care about CSGO. Is there a need for a Penta camera, cough cough, Nokia 9? I don't think there's really the need for it, but like if each lens on each like sensor does something different, then I think that's good. If they're all depth sensors, then I think that's stupid. I think they should just refine their software. But if one of them's like 300 times telephoto and one's like super wide and one's fisheye and one's like, if they're all doing different things, or maybe they all combine together to create like an 8K video, then that would be awesome. Other than that, yeah, I don't think that they're actually that useful. Why does my logo look like that? Ryan, Thomas, Fail, Tech. OnePlus 6 or Poco F1? For me, absolutely has to be the OnePlus 6. I don't actually see a reason to go with the Poco F1. You do get microSD expansion, you get a bigger battery, better battery life. Other than that though, I think everything I prefer about the OnePlus 6. I'd give up that battery life for dash charge. I'd give up that microSD expansion because I just don't use a lot of storage. Yeah, OnePlus 6 every day. Why the heck are you so underrated? Like, you surely deserve more than most tech reviews. Okay, the reason that I included this is because I think, like, I'm not as good as I think I am. And I can't remember who made this video, but we're not as good as we think we are. Everyone around my size, or around like between 5 and 30k, they think they've got the best kind of content on YouTube. They look at their work and they're so proud of it. They can't really see the huge flaws, and they can't see the actual problems with their content. My content, as you've probably been able to tell over the past little bit, has tried to get a little bit more progressive, has tried to get a little bit more kind of meaningful, and I don't care too much-ish about the quality of the audio or the video. Like, of course, I'm striving for the best every day, but I'm more focused on the actual content itself, like what I'm talking about, how I'm conveying it, how I'm written it, stuff like that, which right now, as you can tell in this Q&A, is absolutely dreadful. So it's a bad example. Anyway, the reason I'm going into this rant is that I'm not underrated at all. I think I'm probably worth around 30k, and you know, there are channels with definitely lower sub counts that are worth way more, but I think the people who put lots of effort into like the cool cinematic and the cool style sometimes forget the actual content they're creating, and they care more about how they're shooting it, not what they're shooting. Where am I from in England? Cornwall, this beautiful county. Also, what's my main job, or what do I study? Well, my main job, I guess, is YouTube, although, yeah. And I study IT. I'm going to turn that screen back on so that there's a nice light hitting the side of my face. Nostalgic childhood technology I have a soft spot for. The speakers down there, those awesome speakers, I don't know if you can really class them as technology. I definitely have they have a big place in my heart. And do I watch football? If yes, what club do I support? When I used to watch football about 5 to 10 years ago, when I was really young, I used to support Manchester United. These days, I don't really care. I'd rather play it than watch it. How tall am I? 163 centimetres. Not tall at all. In fact, shorter than I believe the average woman in the country that I am from. So, yeah. And I'm fully grown, so I'm never going to get taller than this. New aspirations of 2019. This is my man Sakib, by the way. Shout out to him. He's a moderator on the Discord. And if I haven't given other shout outs, I'm sorry, given it's been a rough day. Aspirations for 2019? I'd like to hit like 50,000 subscribers. That would be pretty cool. If we could hit higher than that, that would be amazing. And if we hit lower than that, then that's cool as well. But the goal is 50k. Aspirations, there are a few things I'm really looking forward to doing this year. One is build a full sim rig. And there's something coming up that is similar, but it's working towards it. It's not actually building a full sim rig. And then also starting that car channel with my friend Alex, which is actually going to be the live streaming channel as well, because I'd like to combine that all into one. And yeah, basically aspirations are, the big goals are to just work harder and achieve more. And you guys know the goals on my Twitter, but I think the big numbers, 50k, 1k, 1k, 1k on the different social medias. And I think it's just to become better and more efficient at filming these things. Wow, Mackenzie's put a big one here. By the way, Mackenzie Hopkinson, you said you've been around for 2 years. Absolutely. I recognise your name anyway. You've got a really silly long name. And I noticed that you commented on a lot of videos over the years. So big shout out for you for being here so long. What's the best video on your channel for exposure, and what's the phone you missed the most that you have previously used or sold? So biggest video for me probably was, in fact, the video I did a couple of weeks ago. It might have been a week ago now. It was the Pocophone Android Pixel experience. That got me like 1,000 subscribers in like 3 days, 4 days, something like that. And it's the biggest video that's blown up. In a week, getting 100,000 views is just absolutely mind-boggling to me. I believe I got 100,000 views in 4 days or something, which is ridiculous. And the phone I missed the most probably is my rose gold iPhone 6s Plus. I loved that phone to bits. I really miss it, and I think one of the and probably the second is the Pixel 2 XL. I really did like that phone as well. You persuaded me to get an S7 and showed me. You can tell I'm blind, right? Because I'm actually ridiculous. And thank you so much for the big support, Mackenzie. You're awesome. Thank you. Why did I sell my iPhone 10? Good question. Because I needed money, and that's an often occurring thing in my life. How old am I? I am 19, and I will turn 20 in April. Who inspired you to make YouTube videos? If you head to my Twitter, there is actually a link to the first video I ever watched on YouTube, and that's probably I guess the inspiration. It was literally the first video I ever watched, so maybe that started my YouTube career way back in 2007? My thoughts on hole punch displays. I didn't really mind the notch, so yeah, hole punches for me are annoying because they're off center. I like to see symmetry in my phone, so I'd like the hole punch to be in the middle, but it's not, it's in the corner. So I believe Samsung did it perfectly with the Note 9 in terms of the bezels and stuff. And finally, a question from Dario, a good boy on my Discord. How am I? I'm pretty good, thanks, Dario. I'm pretty good. I'm just living life. And that about concludes the Q&A. I'm sorry that I didn't do anything more interesting for this Q&A, and if I look tired, that's because I'm exhausted. I've just had so much on recently, and the weekend was really nice. It was just a time to chill, but then we're going back into the week, and I'm just kind of back on full force again. It's kind of difficult, I guess, for someone to try and balance like their sleep pattern, like for me, because I have to be up during the day but also have to be up during the night to record these, because I actually live on a very busy road and it gets stupidly loud outside, to the point where like buses that go past just shake the house. So yeah, it can be hard to balance, but you know what, I wouldn't do anything else. I absolutely love what I do, so yeah.